Behaviors that keep you single. In this video, I'm going to share how you might unknowingly be sabotaging your chances of finding true love. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. First, I just want to start off by saying that being single is not a death sentence. It is not the worst thing that can ever happen to you. In fact, it's sometimes the best thing that can ever happen to you. Personally, I experienced the most growth, the most epiphanies, the most self-awareness during my time as a single girl. So I'm not hating on being single, because there are times when you need to be single, where you have no business being in a relationship. But in this video, I'm talking to the women who are done with that. I'm talking to the women who are ready to move on and find someone to share their lives with. But for whatever reason, nothing seems to work out for them. Their relationships just fall apart. Maybe they can't attract a man, maybe they can't keep a man. And they're feeling frustrated and they don't know where they're going wrong. So I'm hoping to give you some clarity and maybe help you realize the ways that you might be hindering yourself from getting that relationship that you really want. Being single isn't a curse, and being in a relationship isn't a cure-all. No matter what stage you're in, it's important to take a personal inventory and look at the behaviors and habits that are helping you and the ones that are hurting you. Finding love isn't just about putting yourself out there and signing up for every dating app that exists and going out every day. It's about really looking at yourself and getting yourself to a place where you are ready not only to give love, but to receive it. It's about identifying faulty thought processes and patterns and getting to the root of them and correcting them. And I'm going to share how to do it. So watch this video until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, please give it a like. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell so you get notified when we post new videos. Sign up for the A New Mode newsletter if you want more relationship content. Eric and I deliver our best content straight to your inbox every day. You can subscribe at anewmode.com/subscribe. The link is down below, and follow me on Instagram at A New Mode. Okay, let's get into it and talk about the behaviors that are keeping you single. Number one, you don't ever learn from your mistakes. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you are bound to keep making them again. And this was the story of my life for a very long time. If you find that you keep ending up in the same situations over and over again, it's time to take a step back and to do some reflecting and to look at why that is. Why do you keep circling around in the same spot? What keeps leading you back to the same place? For example, let's say you keep ending up in pseudo relationships with guys who act like your boyfriend but won't call you their girlfriend. Why do you keep ending up in these situations? Why do you keep going for guys who can't commit? Why do you keep going for guys who don't like you as much as you like them? Why do you reject the guys that do seem really into you and do seem like they would treat you right? Take a good hard look at your patterns and see if you can undo any of the faulty wiring that may be leading you to go for the same type of guy over and over again. Number two, you have unrealistic standards. Look, it's important to have standards. It's attractive when a woman has standards. But when you take it too far, then you're only hurting yourself. We all have criteria of what we want in a partner. Some of this can be valid and some of it can border on insane. And here's another thing. We don't know ourselves as much as we think we do. Because I remember, and I'm a very self-aware person, and I was a self-aware person years ago when I was dating, and I had this whole idea in my mind of who I was gonna marry, who I would end up with. And my husband is the opposite of what I thought that I wanted, because sometimes what we think we want is not what we need. And I ended up with someone who has what I need. And for a while, if I just described what I was looking for, nobody would have put me with him. You will be surprised what will happen if you stop looking at a guy and seeing how many boxes he checks on your list of what you want in a guy, and if instead you focus on connecting to the other person and to who he is. Another thing that's important is you need to have a realistic depiction of love, and most people don't, especially now, especially when we're so flooded with other people's lives, with social media and seeing other people's perfect relationships and perfect boyfriends. You can't compare a real life guy to an illusion that you see on the internet. Your mission is not to find someone to be #couples goals with, because that's ridiculous. And that's not real. That's not a real thing. That is not how you build a relationship. A relationship isn't just surface level exterior. It's what goes on beneath the surface. So really take a look at what it is you want in a partner, why you want those things, and if that's what you really need. Number three, you assume he's gonna dump you or lose interest. Now, I see this a lot. A lot of women are so gripped with the fear that they're gonna lose a guy before they even really have him. And this fear of losing him before she even fully has him, when the relationship is just getting off the ground, ends up killing the relationship. So her fears bring the thing that she's fearing to life. If you convince yourself that something bad's gonna happen, you increase the likelihood that something bad will happen. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's a real thing. Because when you are worried about something, you're thinking about it, you're obsessing over it, you can't be present in the moment. You can't connect to the guy. You can't connect to what's in front of you because you're not interacting with him. You're interacting with the worried thoughts that are in your head. And a guy can't connect to you if you're not there, if you're not present. So watch your fears and try to keep them in check. And I know what that fear feels like. And we're gonna cover later on like where this fear stems from. Essentially, it stems from lack of self-esteem. But when you feel that fear creeping in, it is so important to just squash it at the source. To just say, all right, I like this guy, I hope it goes somewhere, but if it doesn't, I'll be fine. I will be okay. And that's it. There's nothing else to worry about. Number 4, you overanalyze everything. This is another trap that us ladies fall into. We just can't help but pick everything apart. You analyze his texts, the conversations you had, his tone of voice, the things that he said, and you just use all this data to try to find clues about how he feels. And you want to know how he feels because you're afraid you're going to lose him. So you're looking for some assurance that he's in it and he's here to stay. And that's why you obsess and you obsess. But obsessing gets you nowhere. It will not give you any sense of safety or security in your relationship. You won't get any clarity. You won't get anywhere. You will only succeed in driving yourself crazy. When you're analyzing like this, you're not being authentic. You're in strategy mode. You're in agenda mode. You're dating defensively. And it's important to ask yourself why you feel that you need to do this. What are you really afraid of here? Okay, maybe you're afraid that he's gonna leave, but then what? What's the fear beyond that? What is the real fear? Because it's not just about losing the guy. Usually we attach a sense of our worth. We attach a sense of meaning about what that will mean about us if he leaves. And that's the painful part. Maybe the meaning we attach to it is that if he leaves, it means I'm unworthy of love. It means that nobody is ever gonna love me. It means that I'm gonna end up single and alone forever. That's really what's at the heart. That's what's driving the fear of losing him that I mentioned earlier. That's what's driving the compulsive need to just analyze and analyze. Instead of being on constant alert and trying to figure out what's going on, instead ask yourself why you feel the need to date so defensively. What are you trying to protect? And how can you release whatever fear is driving you? Number 5, you have low self-esteem. I talk about this a lot, but the thing that keeps us in bad relationships and prevents us from getting into good relationships, into good healthy relationships, is low self-esteem. It is because deep down you don't believe that you deserve any better. You deserve to be treated poorly. You deserve to be with a guy who says, oh, you know, I don't like labels. I don't want to call you my girlfriend. I just want to keep hooking up with these 5 other girls on the side. And you're like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Do what you got to do. Also, if you don't love yourself, you will never truly believe that someone else can love you. How could you? If you don't even love yourself, how will you ever be able to trust that somebody else truly cares about you? So you will pick the relationship apart. You'll pick fights. You might even end up sabotaging the relationship because deep down you think, oh, this isn't going to work out. One day he's going to discover the truth about who I really am and he's going to dump me. So I may as well just ruin the entire relationship now before that happens. You know, let's just get to the inevitable because that's what's going to happen anyway. Low self-esteem sabotages you left and right and will prevent you from getting the relationship that you want. And if you feel that that's what's going on with you, it is so important to make it a priority and to work on building up your self-esteem. I actually have another video on how to be a woman of high value. So when you're done here, definitely check that out. Number 6, you don't deal with your issues. Most of us have been hurt in the past, some much more than others. Maybe it was a painful childhood, maybe it was a painful breakup. No matter the case, you have to deal with it. You have to put in the work to heal from whatever is haunting you, from whatever is holding you back. It's a myth that time heals. Time doesn't do anything. You have to do the work. Time might make the memory a little more foggy, but the pain and the trauma it caused will still be in there. It's not going to evaporate with time. Things don't magically change with time. I mean, I just always thought when I was younger, as I got older, when I became an adult, all of a sudden I would just figure everything out. And all of a sudden I would just feel so good about myself. And all of a sudden my relationship with my parents would be perfect. And I would just know what to do. And I would be so wise and so savvy. But you realize as you grow up, unless you work on yourself, you are exactly the same. You will still feel like a 17-year-old, even if you're in your 30s, unless you actually work on yourself. I feel like a lot of people come to this realization as they get older. The point is, you don't wake up one day all whole and healed. You need to do the work. Being in a happy and healthy relationship entails being your best self. So make self-love your priority. Do whatever it is you need to do to get there. It could be reading a good book, and I've actually written a few, so join the newsletter and you'll find out all about them at newmode.com/subscribe. It could be working with a really good therapist. Whatever it is, do it. Do it now. Start as soon as you're done with this video. Number 7, you settle for meantime relationships. A meantime relationship is a relationship that's just for the meantime. You meet this guy, you know that he's not like the guy for you. You know you guys are on different pages. Maybe he's like a damage case. He's a bad boy that needs to be saved. Maybe there's something about him that like you just know that you can never end up with someone like this. But you do it anyway because you have no one else, and it's better to be with someone than be with no one. So you stay in these situations. Never a good idea. I don't recommend. If you are in the stage of your life where you are ready to settle down and be in a relationship, then don't waste time on guys who are not in the same place as you. Honestly, like one thing Eric and I say a lot is that 95% of relationship success, and this isn't like a proven statistic, but I'd say it's pretty close. 95% comes down to who you choose. You will never have success in your love life. You could be the smartest, most amazing, most beautiful woman in the entire world, and if you keep choosing wrong, you will stay alone. You will never end up in a happy, fulfilling relationship. You have to choose wisely. If you choose a guy who isn't what you want, you are wasting your time. And inevitably you are gonna catch feelings. Inevitably it's not gonna end well, and then you're gonna be devastated over a guy you never should have been involved with in the first place. So what a waste, seriously. Number 8, you're afraid you'll never find better. This applies to the women who always end up with guys who just treat them poorly, and then the relationships fall apart and she just wonders why she can make nothing stick. It really comes down to the point I mentioned earlier, which is low self-esteem. And the low self-esteem leads into this one, which is you don't think that you can find better. So you just stick with whatever it is you have. Essentially, the problem is having no standards. You just let people treat you however. Maybe it's because you have no sense of worth deep down, and so you rely on other people to give you that sense of worth. So when a guy gives you a little bit of attention, you're like, okay, this means I'm worthy. This means I'm someone. This means that I'm special. And you hold on to it, even though the rest of the time he treats you like absolute garbage. The surest way to get what you want is to stop accepting what you don't want. Write that down if you need to. Number 9, you panic over the prospect of being single forever. Sometimes the panic and anxiety oozing out of my single friends over the prospect of staying single is so intense that I feel like I need to take a Xanax. Worrying about ending up alone gets you nowhere. The same way that worrying or wondering what you should eat for lunch does not make a sandwich manifest right in front of you. Worrying can feel like it's serving a purpose because you're expending energy towards something, but you're getting nowhere. You are just expending all this mental energy, and the only thing you're really achieving is just whittling away at your self-esteem. Instead of entertaining those worried thoughts and engaging in those worried thoughts, remind yourself, I'm a great girl. I have so much going for me. Of course, I'm not gonna end up alone. Of course, I'm gonna find someone. Of course, things are gonna work out for me. Maybe you don't believe it, but tell it to yourself anyway, because thoughts are real forces. When you tell yourself something, it has an effect on you. It penetrates your being. It changes you on a chemical level. Thoughts are powerful, so tell yourself, I will not end up alone. I will be fine. I'll be okay. I'll find someone. I am a great woman. I have so much going for me. Just stay cool, stay calm, and have faith that you will get what it is you want in life. Number 10, you don't even try. The fact is, you are not gonna find love by staying locked away and worrying about being single and wondering where all the guys are. Yes, I know it's annoying to be on the dating apps. I know it's annoying to have to go out and meet people. Well, I mean, that's annoying for someone like me because I'm an introvert. Maybe, I guess extroverts like that kind of thing, but when I was single, I was just like a huge hassle for me. I do not wanna go out. I do not wanna be out in the outside world. But that's neither here nor there. I know that it's annoying to have to ask your friends who are in relationships if they know anyone for you, but you gotta suck it up and do it. You have to put yourself out there. Also, about what I mentioned before about asking your coupled friends if they know anyone, don't just assume that your friends in relationships are always thinking about you. Like, I feel like we have this perspective, because I used to feel that way when I was single. I would think like, oh, if any of them know a guy from me, then they'll just tell me. But people aren't thinking about you at all times of the day because people are wrapped up in their own lives. So anytime my single friends have been like to me, oh, does your husband know any great single guys? I'll talk to him and then I'll realize, oh yeah, I do know a guy who's really good for her. So that's a really great resource. And I know maybe you might feel embarrassed to do that. Maybe you feel like it'll make you look desperate. Who cares? It won't. People think about you far less than you think that they do. We always think that we're constantly being judged and constantly being scrutinized, but you're not. So that's a really good technique. And yes, I know the apps are annoying. I know they're full of like players and douches, but what can I tell you? Comes with the territory. You just gotta put in some effort, and moaning and complaining about how annoying dating is does not count as putting effort in. Number 11, you are choosing the wrong men. I touched on this earlier. It's really important to mention again. 95% of relationship success is who you choose. If you are choosing the losers and the damage cases and the players, then yeah, you're gonna stay single. You're gonna end up alone. And that was my pattern for a really long time. And it took a really long time. And I was someone who was writing about relationships for a living. I was writing about my life for a living. So I had so much awareness going on, and it still took a long time for me to realize, oh my gosh, deep down, I think that I just don't feel good enough. So I go for these damaged guys who make me feel not good enough. And it feels good to me because with them, I have a sense of purpose because I'm helping them and I'm healing them and I feel important. It took me a really long time to realize that. It's very important to recognize what your patterns are, who you're going after, and why, and get to the heart of it. This is the most crucial step of all. Identify what your faulty thought patterns are and fix them now. What did you think about this list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there anything I missed? Share your thoughts in the comment section. I love talking to you guys. I love when people share their stories or share advice. It's so great to create that sense of community, and I try to answer everyone. For more on this topic, check out the full article. The link is in the description box. Also in the description box is the link to sign up for our newsletter, anewmode.com/subscribe. Follow me on Instagram @anewmode, and I will see you guys in the next video.